this morning, it was like watching them at their worst against the Knicks in the postseason last year. It was the same suck philosophy and what makes them unwatchable at times, and they get in their own way. It's jack-up threes and too much ISO with Tatum.
Hero ball.
You're vastly superior than that other team. And you play this dumbass offense.
Yep.
That's triggered by Tatum.
I'm a lover. I'm not.
Oh, God.
Perhaps a change to one of their core pieces. And if it were me, I would consider making that change with Jayson Tatum because he has a lot of stink on him for this series, but primarily for his entire postseason resume. I don't understand how this guy avoids the criticism at this point.
Because I'm a punk. That's the answer, bro. Because I'm a punk. Because he's a punk.
So, by now, everybody knows the MO and the mechanics of the Boston Celtics every time they lose in the playoffs or underachieve. Being over-reliant on a three. Live and die by. Once again, while the perpetrator of this style the least on the team gets scapegoated and put in trade rumors, the career-long perpetrator, the one billboarded as the best American player in the world, gets escaped by once again. And we'll talk about it right now on Doing It for GP.
Why am I so real? They don't understand me. I really don't know the deal about a brother.
Welcome back to the channel. Your boy Mac back with some thoughts, with some opinions, with some reactions. Wipe your feet off as you come in. Hit the like button if you so choose, and hopefully you stay a while. Shout out to the supporters. And with that said, let's take this walk.
But having watched it this morning, it was like watching them at their worst against the Knicks in the postseason last year. It was the same suck philosophy and what makes them unwatchable at times, and they get in their own way. It's jack-up threes and too much ISO with Tatum. And Tatum taking shots with a few seconds off the shot clock. I hated it. I hated everything about it.
Here's what I look at, Maz. 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You whittle it down. You whittle it down to a 2-point game. Jaylen Brown hit an elbow jumper with 6:23 left. That made it 91-89.
Yep.
Maxey came down, missed a three. And now the Celtics have the ball, 6+ minutes left, you're down 2. And this was where Tatum took an early shot clock three from the left wing that barely drew the front of the rim.
Hero ball.
You're vastly superior than that other team. And you play this dumbass offense.
Yep.
That's triggered by Tatum.
I'm a lover. I'm not.
Oh, God.
Perhaps they are now at a bit of a crossroads. Perhaps they have to not only consider making a change with Missoula, but perhaps a change to one of their core pieces. And if it were me, I would consider making that change with Jayson Tatum because he has a lot of stink on him for this series, but primarily for his entire postseason resume. I think his resume absolutely should be under the microscope. I don't understand how this guy avoids the criticism at this point.
Because I'm a punk. That's the answer, bro. Because I'm a punk. Because he's a punk.
A guy who has been All-NBA first-team caliber for damn near a half-decade. He had 4 consecutive first-team selections going into this season. I mean, what has this guy done ultimately in the playoffs? Where has he been in the games and series that they have failed in? Well, it started in the 2022 NBA Finals, where the Celtics looked like by far the better team in my estimation against the Golden State Warriors. They raced out to a 2-1 series lead in that series against Golden State before losing 3 consecutive to give Steph Curry his 4th ring. And in that series, Jayson Tatum scored just 21.5 points on 36% shooting. Let's keep this thing moving, though, into 2023, where on the heels of that disappointing finals loss, they run it back to the Eastern Conference Finals, where again, they ran into the 8th-seeded Miami Heat, only to go down 3-0 in that series, but they did fire all the way back to tie to 3 and usher in a Game 7 at home in Boston Garden, where again, I mentioned home teams all-time in NBA history, 82% win probability, and they were massive 7.5-point favorites in that Game 7, and yet they got dusted, absolutely obliterated, embarrassed by 21 points at home in Game 7 against an 8 seed. And in that Game 7, in 42 minutes played for Jayson Tatum, in 42 minutes played for Jayson Tatum, in 42 minutes played for Jayson Tatum, 14 points on 5 of 13 shooting from the field. Utter, undeniable choke job. Then, of course, into 2024, finally, a team too big to fail, a road too easy to let that team fail. Finally, Jayson Tatum wins an NBA championship. Finally. But they did it in spite of him, not because of him. In that final series against the Dallas Mavericks, Jayson Tatum, just 22 points per game on 38% shooting from the field, where his running mate Jaylen Brown got not only the Eastern Conference Finals MVP that year, also the NBA Finals MVP. And then, of course, in their lackluster subpar title defense last year, a second-round disappointing outing at the hands of the New York Knicks. Well, Jayson Tatum averaged just 25 points per game on 40% shooting from the field before blowing out his Achilles in Game 4, which, again, that was an already lost game. They were down 3-1. That series was over.
I just want to make sure that what you said doesn't go.
If you're making
what
a
you're
choice,
saying is you would choose Brown over Tatum if they have to choose.
You would
one.
keep Jaylen Brown. If you have to break it up, it's Tatum that'd be the guy that you would want to trade, not Jaylen Brown.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
Is this your game? Huh?
Great work, gentlemen. Great analysis by the media and some of the more impartial media we have in Boston. My grievances with Tatum have been career long and have been documented on this channel and my Clips channel. Most of them can be explained in my Jayson Tatum is Soft series. Go check them out. Parts 1, 2, and 3. And I really don't want to rehash everything. So I'll try to stick to mostly this year and what leads up to him once again getting a pass and being deemed the untouchable one in Boston. It starts with me lamenting the plus-minus shit. The stupidest analytic to suggest how well a person is playing or having an impact, especially when trying to make an argument with it. A person can stand in the corner while another dude cooking, and that count positively towards his plus-minus. The same motherfucker could pin his man in the corner on defense while another dude keeps getting scored on, and it count negatively towards the plus-minus. We can all watch the game and see who's individually doing shit that's impactful. And particularly in this case, nobody said anything about last year's Knicks series when Jayson Tatum had the worst plus-minus on both teams, when his on-off numbers compared to Jaylen Brown were just as staggering in the reverse this year. It was just about the 40-point game. You know, the first game he was efficient in the playoffs when he was bringing the ball up or getting the ball first and taking the first available three off the pick, icing the offense. But he had 40 points. Inevitably, when they stopped going in the second half, before he got hurt and nobody else had a rhythm, the Knicks came back and won the game. That very next game, you seen Jaylen play how he played all this year. Controlled, taking over the game at the midi and getting Brunson and Towns in foul trouble when the Knicks tried to make a run. And then that very next game, after that, you seen Jaylen when he tries to do too much because the threes ain't falling for the entire team. But that's the Jaylen you also seen in the Philly series somewhat at the end. And that's what people want to focus on. The guy who tried too hard to win. Complete cognitive dissonance, because while people are acknowledging that the offense became three-point happy again in every situation compared to the regular season, they're stopping short of acknowledging the reality of the role Jayson Tatum and styling play around the way Jayson Tatum likes to play plays in that. The depth of his creation as a facilitator is creating threes for others, whether that be half-ass driving for kickouts or backing up to draw the double as much as he can and swing it to the open man, so he most likely receives the assist rather than swing the ball immediately when he sees the double, getting the defense in rotation. All of that leads to threes, especially how he backs up damn near the half court sometimes to draw the double. And then offensively for himself, especially considering the fact that he's going to be number one or two many times recently in shots. Whether it's a dribble, handoff, high pick, ISO spot up, most of Jayson Tatum's offense comes from beyond the arc. And he's not Steph fucking Curry. And he probably encourages Derek White to be Klay Thompson. And this shit ain't about Joe. That's been Tatum's offense since year 3. He was 5 for 25 on pull-up threes in the series. Those are bad shots. Always have been. Especially when you're as tall as Bam Adebayo. And then those threes limit chances for offensive boards because he takes and misses a lot. The rebounds along and the defense has to get back. 6-10. But hey, at least he can feast on those uncontested defensive boards when only his teammates are around his traffic. But like, there's no reason Jaylen Brown should be a better mid-range shooter or more willing to attack the basket. I mean, and I'm a Jaylen Brown fan. But with all those attributes Jayson Tatum has, there's no reason for that. And I attribute that to only being a conditional killer. Only a killer when that shot falling. That's the condition. And this is what makes him untouchable? I mean, it pains me as a Bostonian to see the acceptance of the softest dude on the court and off the court that we have ever had. Off the court, mama's boy. On the court, one of the worst volume scorers we've ever seen prepped up as a generational talent, especially in the playoffs. might be the worst at understanding what his strengths are, but also might be given the most passes. Since 2022 as an unquestionable, untouchable, miles better than Jaylen Brown star, Tatum holds the playoff record for turnovers. Tatum has shot horribly in the finals twice, the worst since they've been tracking it, and has gone down to injury while his team is in the midst of massive underachievement and failure. And he's gotten passes every time. His play style isn't the topic anytime. How he let his team get down 3-0 to the Heat while playing 30-40 minutes in Game 7 while injured and not being able to be effective offensively or defensively, but they still blame Jaylen. How his team let the Knicks go up 3-1, losing 2 20-point leads at home. How he let his team lose a 3-1 lead to the Sixers and bowing out of what he thinks could be criticism in the Game 7, but once again ends up getting praise, all the while shooting poorly. Never finds Jayson Tatum in the crossfire at the end as the unquestioned number one. All of that. And this is, of course, because Jaylen Brown exists to be criticized like he's number one, because he expresses that he can be and showed it one season and people hate it. And now Tatum's untouchable in an injury-prone Giannis trade, while it not being known if Tatum will be injury-prone going forward. Oh, and the offense doesn't change as long as Tatum has the ball, and his style of play is dismissed as the issue all along. Somebody gotta wake up, man. Open your eyes, bro. But what do I know? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe if you like the content, hit the notification bell. And with that said, hopefully you've been entertained and informed while passing this precious time that we have. And hopefully I've earned your sub. I go by the name of Mac. This has been Doing It for GP. Till next time.
You can't treat him like any of the other niggas around here, because he ain't like any of the other niggas around here.
Never did me, I spit the truth. Call you aware, fear-driven niggas get the boot. All of you squares couldn't fit up in my circle. All of us rare and will hurt you severe. Slow your roll, nigga, patience is a virtue. Yeah, and a nigga bite any bark. When I black out, how you gon' hide in the dark?
I'm a punk. He's a punk.